can you say that the Jewish people who originate from Judea have less credibility to live in Israel than the Arabs who came from Arabia during the 7th century, during the conquest?
Wait, so what do you clarify the Israelis as?
The Israelis are Jews. The majority are Jews. 80%.
Yeah, where they originate from?
From Yehuda, from Judea.
Hey, I know you.
I know you as well, brother.
No, you don't know me because it's my first time here.
Ah, so how do you know me? From OnlyFans? You follow me on OnlyFans?
Nah, that's it. Do you have OnlyFans?
No. I might open for you.
Haram. Nah, I see your clips on Instagram and TikTok, I think.
You see my videos on Instagram and TikTok?
Yeah.
What do you think about them?
Honestly, I would disagree with a lot of your points.
Okay. Where does it stem from? Why is that your...
And whose fault this whole scenario is, the whole issue that's happening between Palestine and Israel?
Mm-hmm. Who do you think is at fault?
Israel.
Why? What makes you say that?
Because it was the Palestinian land from the start to begin with. And then they welcomed the Israelis. And then they started took over.
Hold on. The entire conversation just got extremely choppy. You said that the Palestinians welcomed us with open arms?
Yes, they did.
Okay, can you explain to me the Hebron massacre that happened in 1929? Or the Safed looting that happened in 1834? Or in 1838? Or the Jaffa riots in 1920? Before Israel was created.
So Israel was created. So a lot of Israelis, they say that it's promised to them and it was their land 3,000 years ago. How can Israel be created not long ago if it was promised 3,000 years ago?
Well, it was created legally by the UN and by the League of Nations and by the Balfour Declaration. That's what I mean by created, because the country needs to have legitimacy to be created. Palestine, on the other hand, was never created. And that's a fact.
Palestine was there, and then Britain, Britain gave it to you guys.
Okay.
Without the permission of the Palestinian.
Okay, first of all, was Palestine a country?
Yeah, it was. It's even in the Bible.
Can you show me where it says Palestine in the Bible?
There's the map of Palestine in the Bible.
Okay, can you show me? I want to see it.
How am I going to show you?
I don't know, because Palestine was not in the Bible. You're probably talking about Palestina, the Philistines, which came from Crete. But the modern day Palestine...
Either way, if it was Palestine or Palestina, it wasn't Israel.
Okay.
So for you to even claim that,
who do you
doesn't
trust?
help with your point.
What do you trust? Do you trust ChatGPT? What do you trust?
Oh, I don't use ChatGPT.
You don't use it?
No.
You know what it does, right? It scans all of the internet if you ask a question, and it gives you the answer. Right?
Yeah, but it's not as correct and genuine.
Okay, so Palestine wasn't actually a country before 1948. People started wanting a Palestinian state only after the Jews created Israel in 1948. You know, after the UN resolution and all of this stuff. Yasser Arafat, and by the way, all of the neighboring countries of Palestine, all of them, before they tried to occupy it in 1948, you know what they said? They said Egypt is going to take one portion, Jordan is going to take another portion, Syria is going to take another portion, and Lebanon is going to take another portion. So what's going to happen to the Palestinians?
Of Palestine.
Of course, of Palestine. So it means that Palestine...
What does it say that?
The Arab leaders talked about this nonstop. They said before conquering, that's what's going to happen. If none of the neighboring countries, none of the Arab countries were trying to create a Palestinian state, then why do you think that the people living in there were Palestinians if they were just Arabs and Jews and Bedouin and Druze?
They were all from Bilad al-Sham. They were all one country. It wasn't divided. They were all just one big nation.
Yeah, but the people who came from Arabia, you consider them Bilad al-Shamis? The people who came from Arabia during the 7th century with the conquest of Umar the second Khalifa? They came from Arabia. How can you say that the Jewish people who originate from Judea have less credibility to live in Israel than the Arabs who came from Arabia during the 7th century, during the conquest?
Wait, so what do you clarify the Israelis as?
The Israelis are Jews. The majority are Jews.
Yeah,
80%
where they originate from?
from Yehuda, from Judea. Jesus Christ was a Jew who lived in Judea.
He was Palestinian.
He was not Palestinian. Judea wasn't renamed Palestine by the Romans when Jesus was alive, only after he died.
Wait, if I exit the tab so I can search, would it cut off the connection?
It might. Jesus Christ was born in Bethlehem, which was Judea at the time. Judea. And he died in Judea before it was renamed Palestine, Syria, Palestina by the Romans. Yo, the connection is terrible.
TV, bring it fire to the beat. Official Sahar TV.